Our next speaker, Graham McLaren. Ice axe. Ice axe. Graham McLaren.
There I clung, my legs jutting out into the abyss, my gloved hands gripping the one thing keeping me from a 200-foot drop to the rocky shore of a frigid alpine lake. Madam Toastmaster, fellow adventurers in life, throughout my teenage years, I trekked through the wilderness with my backpacking mentor, Mike. When I was 19, Mike invited me on a month-long summer adventure through the mountains. As we were packing our gear, Mike handed me a long-handled tool called an ice axe. And he said, use this tool for everything. So I used the ice axe to chop out snow, to melt for drinking water, to gut the fish that we caught, and once even to throw a rope over the branch of a tree, so we could hoist our bag of food out of the reach of hungry bears. 2 weeks into our adventure, we were hiking across a snow-covered slope when the snow gave out from underneath me and I began to slide towards a 200-foot drop. Instantly, I slammed the head of the ice axe into the snow and I leaned into it. My body continued to fly down the slope, but the blade of the axe caught a crack in a rocky ledge sticking out of the snow. That ice axe saved my life. Later, we came across a creek that, due to the snowmelt, had swollen to the size of a river. I stepped into the frigid water, feeling the current rushing against my ankle, my shins, my thighs. I was just downstream from a fallen and submerged tree, and as the water got across above my waist, the current was so strong it bowled me over, but I slapped my ice axe into the tree and held on for my life. Now, I didn't go tumbling down the boulder-strewn valley, but I was submerged underwater. I jerked up the axe and slapped it back down, took 2 steps, and repeated, working my way across the creek until I could stand on my own 2 legs. And then I stumbled to the beach, embracing the ice axe that saved my life again. As I caught my breath, I heard Mike call out from the other side, "Right then! I'm going to go down the creek and find a safer way to cross." A few weeks after we hiked out of the mountains, I went off to school. I was thrilled to have been accepted into a prestigious college and grateful to sit in rooms that, like this one, were full of people who were smarter than me. Those feelings soon faded, however, as I became consumed with the competition, the workload, the anxiety. Before long, I could barely eat, sleep, or study as I became paralyzed by the distress. I spoke to the president of the college, and after a brief conversation, the president said, "You should probably leave." Now, in the president's defense, that was 4 years before the emergence of positive psychology. As happiness researcher Sean Acork said, it's not necessarily the reality that shapes you. It's the lens through which your brain views the world that shapes your reality. After dropping out of my first college, I spent the next 20 years looking through the lens of failure. At 39 years old, I was a recently divorced father of 2 children. My proposed graduate studies had been denied. I had stalled at work, and I was convinced that I could not simultaneously be a good father and earn a living. I had failed, and I began to wonder if I should be here on this earth. Now, the brain is a creature of habit. It likes to fire the same thoughts again and again. And of the tens of thousands of thoughts that you're going to have today, almost all of them are the same ones you had yesterday. With each new thought, your brain releases a chemical, and you experience an emotion. Can you imagine the emotions that might accompany the nearly constant thought of failure? It was during this time, however, when I was convinced that I was a failure in life, that I witnessed a miracle. A teenage student that I worked with rose above tremendous obstacles to achieve an astonishing goal. It was as if she had some sort of mental tool that she used, like an ice axe, to overcome each new challenge. She appeared to thrive, and I wanted to know why. Because if I could figure that out, maybe one day I too could thrive. It was the glimmer of hope that shaped my studies and led me to the possibility of changing my mind. Did you know you could actually do that? You could create a new thought. You could train your brain to give you the thoughts you want, changing your emotions and your perceptions of reality. It's how people in their 90s learn to play the piano. It's how we develop the skill of compassion. It's how I learned to use the ice axe to save my life. And as I discovered, it was the tool that teenage student used to overcome her adversities. So I decided to try an experiment. I've set an alarm on my smartphone that read, "I am clever and focused." And every morning at 7:30 a.m., I got that reminder. At first, it seemed impossible and kind of like a cruel joke. But over the next 2 weeks, it started to feel good and maybe even possible. And then one morning, 2 months into the experiment, at 7:25, I had the thought, "I am clever and focused." My brain just beat my alarm by 5 minutes. And that was the day I changed my mind. Because every day after that, between 7:25 and 7:28 a.m., I had that thought. I began to wake up feeling joyous and excited and energetic. I received a promotion at work. I finished school. I found out that I was a good father, and even my relationships improved. I set down failure, and instead, clever and focused became the ice axe that I now use to thrive in life. Madam Toastmaster.